Hi, this is Body Camera Review, and today I'm going to review another one of these body cameras that are out there on the market today. Now, if you're a law enforcement officer or agency looking to purchase a body camera, my job as an expert is to make sure that you make the right choice. Number one, don't buy this camera. I'm going to tell you why. It's not made in the USA. This is a Chinese camera, and right now there are probably a dozen vendors, American vendors, that are trying to pass this off as their own body camera. I want to give you a warning right off the bat before I go into the review of this. Is number one, do not plug this into your computer. Do not connect it to your network. The reason why, it's a Chinese camera and it may contain a virus or a Trojan horse. There was already a news article of two IT guys in the East Coast that found a Trojan virus in one of these Chinese-made body cameras. And the last thing you want to do is to plug this into your secure network at your police department, and you have just compromised everything, and Chinese hackers are able to get in and have access to your data. So number one, please don't plug this in. Now, before Ferguson, these types of cameras didn't exist. Before Ferguson, there was mainly 3 to 4 real American body camera manufacturers that actually designed and made their own cameras and made it with ingenuity, innovation, and quality. Now, these cameras came out after Obama pretty much announced $75 million to the industry, and everybody and their grandmother now wants to cash in. And because a lot of these people don't have the capability to manufacture their own body cameras, they actually buy these from China. So right now, if you're looking at one of these cameras, if a vendor is trying to sell this to you, I want you to tell you, don't plug it in. Probably don't test it. I would recommend setting this back. And if they're going to try to sell it to you for $325, $400, or whatever, I'll tell you where you can get it for maybe 90 bucks. And that's at, if you go to Body Camera Reviews and look and click on the picture and get to the page where we're doing a presentation or review on this one, there'll be links to a couple of Chinese manufacturers that you could purchase directly from, along with some of the American vendors that are also selling it. But you could also go to Alibaba.com and type in police body cameras, and there will be a list of Chinese manufacturers and suppliers who are selling this camera, anywhere from $90, $150, etc. So let's start with the review. First, it comes in a box like this. When I looked at the manual, the first thing I see is it says police camera user manual. So, you know, there's already some misspelling, which is an obvious sign that it's from China. But just because your unit came in with a really a good menu or owner's instruction, owner's manual without any grammatical errors, doesn't mean it's not from China. Basically, if it looks like this, if it feels like this, if it's similar to what I'm about to show you, it's coming from China. If you want to know which American companies you should purchase from, just browse the website, Body Camera Reviews, and we will show you, we will list for you real American companies out there that actually make quality cameras that you should put your money, and you can bet your money on. Opening the box, I see that it comes with a docking station, which is great, and I'll cover that in a second. But it also comes with a USB cable and a power supply and a cigarette lighter plug for your car. So basically, the cable functions as has two purposes. One, you can use it to charge your body camera by inserting one end into the power adapter and the other into your body camera to charge it. Or if you want to charge it in your vehicle, you can go ahead and plug this into your cigarette lighter and this into your body camera to charge. The cable can also be used to connect your body camera to your computer to transfer data and also to charge a unit. But once again, don't do it. If you're currently testing this, unplug it immediately, call your IT department and have them begin screening your computers and your servers for viruses. If you're lucky, you're still clean. Now, looking at this body camera, I will tell you right off the bat that it's got a lot of problems with it. First of all, it's outdated. It's meant to look like a transformer, which I think is ridiculous because it kind of looks like a toy. It's too thick, and when you wear it, it's going to catch your seatbelt almost every time. This thickness was acceptable 4 or 5 years ago when body cameras first came out by these U.S. companies, but now they're not acceptable anymore. Now this is considered too thick. And in fact, a lot of these Chinese companies that came out with these cameras are actually copying American models that were released 4 or 5 years ago. So basically, although this unit was probably is new, to me, it's old and outdated and not worth the money. It's too thick. Now, I noticed it has an LCD screen, which is great. And just to let you know that the minimum standard for an LCD screen should be 2 inches, and this fits that. Anything less than 2 inches is not worth getting because you're not going to be able to see anything. But there are pros and cons to having an LCD screen. One is that it makes your unit bigger, it drains battery, and it makes your unit heavier and more expensive. Some departments can do without LCD screen because they don't allow their officers to actually look at video anyways. And when you don't have an LCD screen, now you can have a camera that is lighter, thinner, and more affordable, and also lighter and easier to mount on your body. What I like about this though is the clip, because they kind of copied the Motorola lapel mic clips, and by having it be able to rotate, you can actually clip it onto your shirt, or rotate it down and clip this onto your pocket, onto your belt, which is okay. But what I don't really like about it is all these buttons and all these are all over the place. That doesn't make sense. And also, it doesn't really have a really good power button or a way to really intelligently power it on and begin recording audio and video. This is a 4-in-1 device, and what I mean by 4-in-1 device is that it's actually 4 devices in one unit. So it's a speaker mic, in other words, it's a lapel mic that you can connect to your two-way radio. It's a video camera, a digital camera, and a voice recorder, all packaged into one unit. But they're actually copying the WOLFCOM Third Eye that originally came out about 5 years ago with the exact same features, but a much better design. Right away, the PTT button, although it's on the right spot on the right side, like a lapel speaker mic, the button is way too small, and it's also located next to these other buttons. So can you imagine? During the course of your duties in a stressful situation, you're trying to communicate and you're pressing the wrong button instead, and you're wondering why your radio is not working, and you look down and you realize that, hey, I'm pressing the wrong button. In that moment, in that precious second that you take to look down to see if you're pressing the right button, someone shoots you in the head or something like that happens. So for me, I put myself in your shoes as a police officer. You want something that is practical, that has really good ergonomics and makes sense. This thing doesn't make sense to me. Having these buttons here, too many buttons, it looks like it's gadgety, but really it's not practical. Just remember my reasoning is that less is more, and there's just too much here going on with all these buttons and switches. And the more buttons and switches you have, the more something will break down. The simpler your unit is, the less that it's going to break down. So let's go and cover this. This is your PTT button. This is your video camera button. This is your power button. This is your voice recording button. This is your camera button. On the side here, you have your HDMI connection or ports that allow you to connect direct to the TV, so you can play it back on your TV screen, and also your USB connectors where you can connect this directly to the cable to connect to your PC to transfer files and charge your unit, or just to charge your unit. On the top you have another button here, which I'll cover in a second, and also you have these LEDs on top. In the front of the unit you have your 160 or 100 degree wide angle lens, which is really unacceptable for most police departments, because when you have something with 170 or 160 degree wide angle, yes, you get to see more. However, the image is warped and fisheyed. That means you're going to be watching a video that is fisheyed. And for many departments, that does not fit the policy and does not fit the requirement. If you want something that is going to be a flat image, the most you can go with wide angle is a 120 degrees. 120 degrees is the maximum allowed before warping of the image occurs. And so this might be too much for your department. Also, it's come with night vision, infrared IRs, and also a laser. I know it sounds funny. I'll show you what the laser can do later. And also on the bottom, it has a removable battery. And I'll show you this. It actually does that, so you could remove the battery. Now, although they, they try to tell you that, hey, it's great to have a removable battery. I'm going to explain to you why it's not good to have a removable battery. And so let's go. To start recording on a unit, you're going to have to press this button for 2 to 3 seconds. So you have to hold it down, and the unit will power on, and it will begin recording audio and video. Now, I hate buttons, and the reason why is because how do I know that I've just powered it on? What if I'm in a stressful situation where it's loud, it's noisy, and my attention is everywhere? I activate my camera. I'm not sure, first of all, did I push the PTT button? Did I push this power button? Did I push this button? And then I got to hold my finger for 2 or 3 seconds and count, in my mind, 1, 2, 3, and let go. But I still don't know, is it really recording? And that precious seconds that I have to take to unclip this, look, and see that it's recording, someone might shoot me in the head. And so I don't like buttons. You can't physically feel and know that you're recording. Switches are better. At least with a switch, if you can physically feel that the switch is down, you know it's recording. If you feel that the switch is up, you know it's not recording. And you can do all this without even looking, just by feeling, which is why I like switches. So remember the rule. When buying a body camera, don't buy a body camera that takes buttons. Another thing is that while you're recording a video, if you're in an altercation with a suspect, during a fight or struggle with that suspect, while you're fighting around, this button might get pressed. And when it does, you lose all your video because it's just powered off. Any of these 2 buttons right here will just power off the unit, and now all audio and video will be lost. And if you happen to shoot the guy because you're fighting for your life, try to prove that in court. So please, if you're going to buy a body camera, no buttons, switches only. Let's see, another thing too is to stop recording, you actually have to press this button up here and power it off. So it makes no sense to me why you have to press this one to turn it on and this one to power it off. Now, the vendor that you're probably purchasing it from might have reconfigured the switches so that this button powers on and powers off. But to me, because it's a button, it's not really good for police work. Another thing that I want to show you is that this unit has a ridiculous laser. By pushing this button here, you have a laser. Now, this is not so that you can look like the Terminator, but this is just so that when you are wearing this on your uniform, if you want to know that you're aiming straight, this will help you know that you're aiming straight. It's a novelty. It doesn't make sense. And the reason why they have this feature in the first place is because these cameras were actually designed for the Chinese police department. And, they don't have the professional requirements that U.S. and westernized police officers have in this day and time. They're really behind it at times, and this is not really practical. I would prefer that if you're going to have a camera and you want to be able to aim the lens or the head, have a rotatable camera lens. That's always the best. What I don't like about these fixed lenses is that because officers come in all different shapes and sizes and different types of uniform, you might have a woman officer who's kind of big-breasted, and this will sit up and point upwards and she's recording the sky. You might have an officer who's pretty built and works out, has a big chest, and the same thing, he's recording the sky. You might have an officer who's shorter and he's going to be recording people at chest level or belt level. You really can't do much when it comes to aiming with these fixed types of cameras. So if you're going to go with a good quality body camera, go with something with a rotatable camera lens. Here are your IR night vision, and it will actually illuminate your way in the dark. And although you can't see this invisible light, your camera is going to be able to see in night vision, and the range is going to be around 30 feet, which is pretty good. It's acceptable. Now, I want to get over to the battery compartment because it really bothers me. Now, your vendor might tell you that, hey, you know what, you can change batteries, and your docking station, which you could have in the car, can have an extra set of batteries. That way, you're not stuck with a dead unit out in the field. The truth is that what's more important to you, battery life or chain of custody? Because in our studies, police officers record in an entire shift on average of 2 to 3 hours of video. And if you have a 4-hour or 6-hour battery, that's plenty. And so they're trying to tell you that you can actually change the battery when it gets weak. But let me tell you, because of the chain of custody, because you want to make sure that your officers are recording and that they're not tampering with the video, let's say you might have a policy that says every time an officer interacts with the public, his body camera has to be rolling. And that way you have transparency for the department. But by having a removable battery, there's a way that he can bypass that. Let's say that I'm an officer and I'm not exactly honest and I like beating up on people. And so because of the policy, I now have to set my camera to record. And because my superior wants to see me recording video and have transparency and all that stuff. But let's say that while I'm recording, I actually want to power it off. And you know what I could do? I can actually just remove the battery, and when I remove the battery, the unit powers off by itself, just like that. You see, and now it's off. And so this is a weakness. If you're going to buy a body camera for your department, no replaceable changeable battery. And yes, you know, you could say that, hey, an officer could just power it off, and it's true. But however, because these are firmwares, these are computers, the vendor that's selling it to you might have asked their Chinese supplier to just program it so that if they power it off, it will stamp a log, keep a log, and that way that it will prove that officer actually powered off by hand. By having a battery door, he can bypass that feature by just removing the battery and powering it off. So remember that if you're going to buy a body camera, please, no removable battery. Other than that, there's really not much to say. Let's talk about the docking station, which I don't really like, because basically the docking station goes like that. You have a cable connected to your computer, and you're supposed to push this in, and it docks. However, with this one, you have to click it in, and it doesn't go in. You have to, there you go, here are the triple clicks, and now you have it in. So it's not really a great docking station. You know why? Because now I want to undock it, I've got to hold this down. I want to dock it, I got to use two hands. So to me, it's not really a well-made product. And you see, because it uses buttons, I accidentally just activated the camera without intending to. So if you want to read up more on specifications, I think the specs, the overall features are okay. It's just the design of the unit is not practical. Also, with Chinese cameras, you're going to have to be careful about counterfeit components or components that are being used that are not of good quality, and therefore you end up with a product that's going to break down or die within a few months or a few weeks after use.